Seed of the Red Dawn. Prologue. The shadow falls. The sky burned orange over Houston, but it wasn't the sunset. At 3:47 a.m., the first alarm screamed through the city. Shrill, inescapable, like the world itself was choking on panic. Dr. Lena Voss barely heard them over the hum of the gene sequencer in her lab. She'd been awake for 39 hours, coaxing the last DNA samples into cryogenic vials. Panthera pardus. Leopard, one of the final big cats, logged into the arc vault. Her hands trembled as she sealed the tube, the weight of it all pressing down, millions of years of evolution, now a whisper of code in her palm. The asteroid, dubbed Erebus 9, had been a faint blip on a telescope 6 months ago. Now it was a fist of rock and iron, 12 kilometers wide, hurtling toward Earth at 30 kilometers a second. The deflection mission, 3 nuclear-tipped interceptors launched from Baikonur, had failed 2 days prior. One missed, one detonated too early. The third hit, fracturing Erebus into a shotgun blast of fragments, still on course. Impact, 38 months, give or take. Earth's odds, grim. Lena's comm buzzed.
Voss, you still in there?
It was Javier Ruiz, her mission lead, voice rough from shouting over chaos at mission control.
Shuttle's prepped. Mars window closes in 6 hours. Move your ass.
She didn't answer, just stared at the vile rack. 1.2 million species, from algae to elephants, condensed into a lattice of frozen tubes. The arc vault wasn't just her project. It was humanity's. The plan was insane when they'd pitched it: ferry the vault to Mars, wait out the impact and its fallout, then return to reseed Earth. A 50-year gamble, minimum. But with Erebus 9 closing in, insane was all they had left. Outside, the streets were a snarl of headlights and screams. Looters had hit the grid days ago. Power flickered like a dying pulse. Lena grabbed her gear, tablet, sample case, a photo of her daughter she hadn't seen in 3 years, and bolted for the evac zone. The shuttle loomed ahead, a squat beast of steel and thrusters, its crew a mix of scientists, engineers, and one grizzled pilot who'd logged more hours in sims than sanity allowed.
Voss, you're late.
Ruiz barked as she strapped in. He was all sinew and stubble, eyes bloodshot from plotting trajectories.
Vault's loaded. We're 80 souls, total. Rest didn't make it.
She nodded, throat tight. 80 people to carry Earth's legacy. The cabin rattled as engines roared to life, drowning out the sirens. Through the viewport, Houston shrank, a glowing wound against the dark, then vanished as they punched through the atmosphere. Mars waited, red and cold, a lifeline or a tomb. Lena clutched the leopard vial in her pocket, whispering to no one.
Hold on.
Chapter 1. The Long Climb. The shuttle, Aurora, shuddered like a beast, shaking off sleep. Lena Voss gripped her harness, the leopard vial still a cold lump against her thigh. The ascent was a brutal dance, gravity clawing at them, thrusters screaming back, until the viewport flared white, then settled into the black of space. Earth hung below, a bruised marble streaked with storms, its fate sealed by a rock they couldn't stop.
G-force is nominal,
came a gravelly voice from the cockpit. Captain Elias Tran, a wiry ex-fighter pilot with a scar splitting his left eyebrow, didn't turn around. His hands moved over the controls like they were part of him, coaxing Aurora toward the Mars transfer orbit.
6 months to touchdown. Don't puke on my ship.
Ruiz, strapped in beside Lena, snorted.
No promises, Tran. You smell that recycled air yet?
He was trying to lighten the mood, but his knuckles were white on the armrests. 80 souls crammed into a tin can built for 60. Engineers, biologists, a handful of grunts to haul gear. The arc vault sat in the cargo bay, a refrigerated cube humming with Earth's last gasp. Lena's eyes flicked to the woman across from her, Dr. Priya Khatri, a geneticist with a reputation for cracking tough genomes. Priya's face was calm, almost eerily so, her dark braid coiled tight like she'd planned every strand.
You think it'll work?
Lena asked, voice low.
The vault. Rebuilding.
Priya's lips twitched, not quite a smile.
If the cryo holds, maybe. If Mars doesn't kill us first, sure. If we don't kill each other before then, definitely.
Her tone was dry, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt. Lena got it. 3 big ifs for a plan this untested. A clang echoed from the back, followed by a curse.
Stow that gear, Quan!
Tran barked. A lanky figure, Quan the system's tech, stumbled into view, wrestling a loose crate. He was young, barely 25, with a mop of black hair and a nervous grin.
Sorry, Captain. Shit's shifting back there.
Fix it.
Tran growled. We're not losing the vault to your sloppy hands. Lena unbuckled as the artificial gravity kicked in, a weak hum underfoot. She needed to check the vault herself. Habit, obsession, whatever you called it. The cargo bay was a tight maze of pipes and panels, the vault bolted dead center. Its readouts glowed green, minus 190 degrees Celsius, stable. She ran a hand over the casing, picturing the leopard DNA inside, the oak seeds, the coral spores. A pang hit her. Her daughter Mara loved leopards. Last she'd heard, Mara was in a bunker in Colorado. No comms since the evac.
Voss, you praying to that thing?
Ruiz appeared behind her, arms crossed.
It's not gonna sprout legs and run off.
Just checking.
She said, sharper than intended.
We lose this. We lose everything.
He nodded, softer this time.
I know. Tran's got us on course. 3 burns to Mars, then we're coasting. But the crew's twitchy. 6 months in this sardine can, no margin for error. You see Khatri? She's already sizing us up like lab rats.
She's not wrong to.
Lena said.
80 people, tight quarters, half a year. Something's gonna crack.
Ruiz smirked.
Bet it's Quan first. Kid's got butterfingers and a mouth. Tran'll toss him out an airlock by week 2.
A sharp jolt cut him off. Aurora lurched, alarms blaring. Lena grabbed a rail as Tran's voice crackled over the comm.
Debris field. Strap in now.
Through the cargo bay porthole, she saw it. A glittering swarm of metal shards, remnants of a dead satellite or a failed interceptor, spinning toward them. Earth's orbit was a graveyard now, and they'd just flown into its teeth.
Hold tight.
Tran yelled. The shuttle banked hard, thrusters roaring. Lena's stomach flipped as the vault rattled against its moorings. If it breached, if even one vial cracked, millions of years could vanish in a hiss of nitrogen. She locked eyes with Ruiz.
Still think Quan's the first to go?
He didn't laugh. Chapter 2, Shards of the Past. The Aurora groaned as it twisted through the debris field, metal screeching against metal. Lena Voss braced against the cargo bay wall, her pulse hammering as the arc vault's moorings creaked. A fist-sized chunk of satellite hull slammed into the porthole, spiderwebbing the glass. She flinched, half expecting vacuum to yank her out, but the seal held, for now.
Tran, talk to me!
Ruiz shouted, voice cutting through the chaos. He'd wedged himself beside the vault, one hand on a strap, the other shielding his face as loose tools ricocheted around them.
Working on it.
Tran's reply crackled over the comm, strained but steady.
Erebus fucked orbit. Everything's a shooting gallery up here. Hold your shit together.
The shuttle lurched again, a bone-rattling thud shaking the frame. Lena's mind flashed to the interceptors, those desperate shots at Erebus 9 that had only made things worse. Now their ghosts were trying to finish the job. Priya Khatri staggered into the bay, her calm facade cracking as she gripped a pipe.
Hull integrity's at 92%.
She said, reading from a wrist tablet.
We take another hit like that. We're venting air.
Great.
Ruiz muttered.
6 months to Mars with a leaky bucket.
Focus!
Lena snapped, shoving past him to the vault's controls. The readouts flickered, temperature stable, but the jolts had tripped a power relay. She punched in a reset code, hands steady despite the adrenaline.
If this thing goes down, hull breaches won't matter. We'll be flying a coffin.
A shrill yelp cut through the noise. Quan tumbling from the rear hatch, his arms flailing. A jagged shard of metal, maybe part of an old solar panel, spun past him, slicing his sleeve. Blood beaded in zero-G globs before the artificial gravity yanked it to the floor.
I'm fine.
He yelled too loud, clutching his arm.
Just shit. That was close.
Get him patched.
Tran barked over the comm.
I'm threading the needle. 2 minutes to clear.
Priya moved fast, dragging Quan to a medkit bolted to the wall.
Stop squirming.
She said, her voice ice as she slapped a sealant patch on his cut.
You're not dying today.
Lena ignored them, eyes locked on the vault. The relay clicked back online, green lights steadied. She exhaled, fogging the frigid casing. Outside, the debris storm thinned, the pings against the hull spacing out. Aurora leveled, thrusters easing into a low hum.
Clear.
Tran announced, finally turning in his seat. His scar gleamed under the cockpit lights, a slash of history. Rumor was he'd earned it ejecting from a crashing jet over the Pacific.
Damage report now.
Ruiz checked a panel.
Minor dents, 1 sensor array's toast. We're still breathing.
For now.
Priya added, wiping Quan's blood off her hands.
That was too close. Orbit's a minefield. Erebus's fallout's worse than we modeled.
Tran grunted. Models don't mean. Shit when you're dodging a junkyard. 6 months to Mars, people. This is just the warm-up. Lena sank against the vault, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. Her fingers brushed the leopard vial in her pocket. Mara's favorite. She pictured her daughter's gap-toothed grin, 7 years old, pointing at a zoo hologram. They're sneaky, Mommy. 3 years since they'd spoken, since Lena's work swallowed her life. If Mara was still alive in that Colorado bunker, she'd be 10 now. If.
You okay, Voss?
Ruiz's voice pulled her back. He loomed over her, concern creasing his stubble.
Yeah,
She lied, standing.
just need this thing to hold.
She tapped the vault.
And us.
He nodded, glancing at Quan, who was flexing his patched arm with a shaky grin.
Kid's a liability. Tran's right. 6 months. Tight quarters. We're a powder keg.
Or a team.
Lena countered.
We've got no choice.
Priya joined them, her braid still perfect, despite the chaos.
Team or not, we need rules, schedules. Someone cracks. We're done.
Agreed.
Tran called from the cockpit.
Ruiz, your XO. Sorted. I fly, you babysit. Voss, vault's your baby. Kotri, keep us sane. Quan,
He paused.
don't touch anything.
Quan saluted, wincing.
Aye, Cap.
The Aurora settled into its coast, Earth a shrinking speck behind them. Mars was a faint red pinprick ahead, 6 months and a million risks away. Lena stared at it, the weight of the vault, and the ghosts she carried settling in her bones. Chapter 3. Drift and Discipline. 3 months into the journey, the Aurora was a pressure cooker with a leaky valve. The debris field was a memory, but the silence of deep space gnawed worse than the chaos. Lena Voss sat cross-legged by the arc vault, running diagnostics for the 10th time that week. The hum of the cryo unit was her lullaby now, steady at minus 190 degrees Celsius, a lifeline in the void. She'd taken to sleeping in the cargo bay, closer to the vault than her bunk. It wasn't just duty, it was the only thing keeping her tethered. The crew had settled into a brittle rhythm. Tran ruled the cockpit, barking orders when the ship's systems hiccuped. Fuel cells were finicky, and the patched sensor array still ghosted false readings. Ruiz enforced the schedule Priya had drawn up. Shifts for maintenance, exercise, meals. No idle hands, no room for cracks. Quan, still jumpy from his close call, had been relegated to inventory, counting protein bars and spare bolts, safer than touching anything critical. Lena heard boots clanging before she saw Ruiz duck into the bay.
Voss, you're off shift. Go eat. Quan's hoarding the good rations again.
She didn't look up from her tablet.
Vault's priority. I'll eat when it's done.
It's always done.
He said, crouching beside her.
You're turning into a ghost down here. Crew's starting to talk.
Let them.
She tapped a command, logging a minor power fluctuation.
This holds, we hold.
Ruiz sighed, rubbing his jaw.
Tran's on edge. Says the trajectory's drifting. 1/2 degree off. Not fatal, but he's chewing bulkheads over it. Priya thinks it's the busted sensor. Quan swears he didn't touch it.
Lena smirked faintly.
Quan swears a lot.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong this time. Point is, we're fraying. You hiding with your icebox doesn't help.
She met his eyes, tired, steady, the kind that had seen worse than this.
I'm not hiding. I'm working.
Same difference.
He said, standing.
Dinner's in 10. Trans orders. Full crew. Move it.
Reluctantly, she followed. The mess was a closet with a table, the air thick with the tang of rehydrated stew. Tran sat at the head, scar twitching as he spooned grey mush. Priya was opposite, dissecting her meal like it was a specimen. Quan slouched beside her, sneaking an extra packet of salt under the table.
Voss, nice of you to join the living,
Tran said, not looking up.
Vault still frosty?
Stable.
She replied, sliding in next to Ruiz.
Power's fluctuating, but within tolerance.
Good. Ship's not.
Tran tapped his tablet, pulling up a starfield map.
We're off course. Not much, but enough. Fuel's tight. Correcting now means less margin for Mars landing.
Priya leaned forward.
It's the sensor. I ran the numbers. False data's skewing the nav. We need to recalibrate manually.
With what?
Ruiz asked.
Half our tools are improvised. Quan's using duct tape back there.
Hey,
Quan protested, mouth full.
it works.
Barely.
Tran growled.
We drift another degree. We miss Mars entirely. 6 months becomes forever.
Lena's gut tightened. The vault could last years in cryo, but not indefinitely. And neither could they.
What's the fix?
Spacewalk.
Priya said matter of fact.
Someone goes out, resets the array. I can guide from here.
Out there?
Quan's eyes widened. With the radiation, you saw what Erebus kicked up. Solar flares are spiking,
Shielded suit'll hold.
Tran said.
Question is who? I fly. Ruiz runs the ship. Voss babysits the vault. That leaves you or Kotri.
Priya raised a brow.
I'm not trained for EVAs. Quan is.
Quan choked on his stew.
Me? I mean, yeah, I've done Sims, but
No buts.
Tran cut in.
You're it. Tomorrow, 0600. Prep him, Kotri.
Dinner dissolved into silence, Quan's grin long gone. Lena watched him, then Priya, then Tran. A powder keg, Ruiz had called them. She felt it now, the slow burn of fear, resentment, necessity. 3 months down, 3 to go. Mars was a promise, but space didn't care about promises. Back in the cargo bay, she checked the vault again. The leopard vial stayed in her pocket, a talisman against the drift. She whispered to it, to Mara, to Earth,
We're still here.
for now. Chapter 4. Out in the black, the aurora hung in the void, a scarred speck against the endless dark. At 0555, Quan stood in the airlock, suited up, his breath fogging the helmet visor. The EVA suit was a bulky relic, shielded, sure, but patched from years of budget cuts. Lena Voss watched through the cargo bay monitor, her fingers tight around the leopard vial. She didn't trust Quan not to screw this, but Tran was right. He was their only shot.
Com check.
Priya's voice crackled through Quan's helmet. She stood at the control station, tablet in hand, her calm a thin veneer over the stakes.
You hear me?
loud and annoying.
Quan quipped, voice shaky.
Let's get this over with.
Thrusters off.
Tran called from the cockpit.
You've got a 20-minute window before drift pulls us too far. Move.
The airlock hissed open, and Quan stepped out, tethered by a thin umbilical. The sensor array clung to Aurora's hull, a tangle of wires and panels 50 meters aft. Space yawned around him. Stars sharp as knives, Earth a distant smudge, Mars still a dream. His boots mag-locked to the hull, clanking with each step.
Looking good.
Priya said.
10 meters out. Stay on the grid.
Lena glanced at Ruiz, who hovered by the airlock controls.
He's got this, right?
Ruiz shrugged.
Kid's a klutz, but he's not stupid. 50-50.
Great.
She muttered, eyes back on the screen. Quan's helmet cam showed his gloved hands fumbling with a wrench, the array's casing dented from debris. Solar wind readings spiked on Priya's tablet. Erebus's wake was stirring up radiation, just like Quan feared.
Panels off.
Quan reported, voice tight.
Wires are a mess. Give me the sequence.
Priya rattled off codes, guiding him to bypass the fried circuits. Lena held her breath as he worked, the vaults hum a steady pulse behind her. If the drift wasn't fixed, they'd overshoot Mars, stranded with a frozen zoo and no planet to plant it on. A sharp crack split the comm. Quan yelped, his cam jerking. A micrometeor, no bigger than a pebble, punched through the array, missing his arm by inches. Sparks flared, and his tether snapped taut as he flailed.
Quan!
Ruiz barked.
Status!
Fine, fine.
He gasped.
Hit the panel, not me. Shit, that was close.
Focus!
Priya snapped.
Recalibrate now!
He steadied, hands trembling as he rewired the last connection. The cockpit beeped. Tran's voice cut in.
Signal's clean. Drift's correcting. Get back inside.
Quan didn't argue. He clanked back, faster now, the umbilical coiling behind him. But the solar wind wasn't done. Priya's tablet blared a warning. Flare incoming, high-energy particles, 3 minutes out. Exposed, Quan's suit wouldn't hold.
Move!
Lena yelled, surprising herself. She bolted to the airlock with Ruiz, slamming the inner hatch open. Quan stumbled in as the outer door sealed, collapsing against the wall, visor fogged with sweat.
Flares hit in 90 seconds.
Priya said, already at the controls.
Shields up. Hope they hold.
The Aurora shuddered as the storm struck, a low whine vibrating through the hull. Lights flickered. The vault's readouts dipped, then stabilized. Lena knelt by Quan, popping his helmet off. His face was pale, eyes wide, but he grinned.
Told you I'd make it.
Barely.
Ruiz said, clapping his shoulder.
Good work, kid.
Tran's voice growled over the comm.
Course locked. Mars in 3 months, if we don't hit anything else. Nice save, Quan.
Lena sank back, the vial warm in her grip. The crew traded looks, relief, exhaustion, a flicker of trust. Quan wasn't just the screw-up anymore, but the flare's aftershocks lingered. A reminder, space didn't forgive, and they were still half a journey from solid ground. In the cargo bay, she checked the vault again. A single vial, some moss sample, had cracked, its contents a faint mist on the casing. Small loss, she told herself, but it felt like a warning. Chapter 5. Red Dust Rising. The Aurora kissed Mars's atmosphere with a roar, heat shields glowing cherry red as it sliced through the thin haze. Lena Voss strapped into her seat, the leopard vial a familiar weight against her chest. 3 months since Quan's spacewalk, 3 months of drift and duct tape, holding them together. The crew was leaner now, hollow cheeks, sharper edges, but they'd made it. Mars loomed in the viewport, a rusted sprawl of craters and canyons, no promises in sight.
Brace for entry.
Tran called, hands steady on the controls. His scar caught the amber light, a jagged badge of survival.
Landing sites Valles Marineris. Sheltered. Flat enough. Chutes deploy in 30 seconds.
Ruiz double-checked the harnesses, his voice a low rumble.
Gears secure. Vault's locked. Let's not die now.
Priya's tablet streamed data, altitude, velocity, wind shear.
Atmosphere's kicking. Crosswinds at 40 meters per second. Hold tight.
Quan, beside Lena, clutched his armrests.
This thing's built for this, right? Right?
Mostly.
Tran said, deadpan. The cabin rattled as chutes snapped open, jerking them hard. Quan yelped. Lena's teeth clacked shut. The descent was a controlled crash. Thrusters flared, dust billowed, and Aurora slammed into the Martian plain with a groan of metal. Silence followed, broken only by the hiss of cooling hull plates. Through the viewport, red sand swirled, a lifeless welcome.
We're down.
Tran said, unbuckling.
Systems green. Welcome to Mars, assholes.
Lena exhaled, the vault's hum faint but steady through the bulkhead. They'd landed near a prefab habitat, dropped by a robotic probe years back, stocked with basics, air, water, power. Step 1 was survival. Step 2 was waiting out Earth's apocalypse. Step 3, rebuilding, felt a galaxy away. Suited up, they stepped onto the surface, boots crunching regolith. The sky was a dull pink, horizon jagged with canyon walls. Tran planted a sensor stake, claiming the spot.
Home sweet hell.
He muttered. Inside the habitat, a dome of reinforced plastic and steel, they unpacked. The vault fit snugly in a shielded corner, its readout still green despite the cracked moss vial. Lena ran a full scan, 1.2 million species, -1.
It's holding.
She told Ruiz, who was wrestling a solar panel into place.
Good,
He said, wiping dust from his visor.
'cause this place ain't. Power's at 60%. Batteries are old. We've got weeks to fix it before the cold kills us.
Priya mapped the habitat, her braid swaying as she moved.
Radiation's manageable. Dome's intact, but water recycler's sluggish. We ration till it's online.
Quan, tasked with comms, fiddled with a console.
Signal to Earth spotty. Too much interference from Erebus's crap. We're on our own.
Always were.
Tran said, unpacking a crate of tools.
Settle in. We've got 38 months till impact clears, assuming Earth's still there.
That night, if you could call the dim Martian dusk night, Lena sat by the vault, the crew scattered around the dome. Quan tinkered with a radio, static hissing. Priya charted soil samples, plotting where the vault's seeds might one day grow. Ruiz and Tran argued over fuel reserves, voices low but sharp. Lena pulled the leopard vial from her pocket, tracing its curve. Mara's face flickered in her mind. 10 now, maybe huddled in that bunker, maybe gone. The vault was Earth's hope, but this tiny tube was hers. She didn't notice Priya approach until the geneticist spoke.
You think she's still out there?
Priya's tone was soft, rare for her. Lena startled, pocketing the vial.
Who?
Your daughter. You mutter her name in your sleep.
She froze, then nodded.
Mara. I don't know. Colorado's deep. Could survive the hit, but the fallout.
Priya sat beside her, eyes on the vault.
I had a brother in Mumbai. No bunkers there, just chaos. We're here for them, aren't we? The ones we lost, or might still save.
Yeah,
Lena said, throat tight.
we are.
Outside, a wind howled, kicking up red dust against the dome. Inside, the vault hummed on, a fragile heartbeat in the dark. Chapter 6, The Cold Bites. 6 months on Mars, and the red dust had crept into everything. Suits, filters, dreams. Lena Voss woke to the habitat's dim glow, her breath visible in the chill. The vault's hum was steady, but the dome's heater sputtered, a dying wheeze. Temperature read -10 degrees Celsius inside, balmy compared to the -80 degrees Celsius outside, but a warning they couldn't ignore. She pulled on her jacket, the leopard vial a cold lump in her pocket, and found Ruiz by the power console, his face lit by flickering gauges.
Batteries are at 22%.
He said, not looking up.
Solar's choking. Dust storm's been blocking the panels for days.
Storm still raging?
Lena asked, peering through the dome's porthole. Red haze swallowed the horizon, wind clawing at the structure with a low moan.
Worse.
Tran said, stomping in from the airlock, helmet under his arm. His scar was stark against wind-burned skin.
Winds hit 60 meters per second out there. One panel's down, ripped clean off. We don't fix this, we're dark in a week.
Priya joined them, her braid fraying at the ends, a rare crack in her polish.
Water recycler's at half capacity, too. Filters are clogged. We're down to 2 liters a day each.
Quan slouched in from the comms nook, rubbing sleep from his eyes.
Radio's dead. No Earth signal, not even static. Storm's frying the ionosphere or something.
Or Earth's gone quiet.
Ruiz said, voice flat. They all felt it. 32 months to Erebus's impact, but the silence gnawed. No news, no hope, just the red void. Tran clapped his hands, sharp.
Enough moping. We've got a panel to replace, batteries to limp on till the storm quits. Voss, you're with me? Suit up. Ruiz, rig a backup from the Aurora's spares. Khatri, unclog those filters. Quan, stay put.
Quan saluted, mock serious.
Aye, Captain. No touching.
Lena followed Tran to the airlock, the EVA suit stiff against her joints. Outside, the storm hit like a fist. Dust stung her visor, wind tugging at her tether. Tran led, a shadowed bulk ahead, hauling a spare panel from the shuttle's wreckage. The downed one lay twisted 50 meters out, a crumpled relic.
Anchor me.
Tran yelled over the comm, voice cutting through the howl. Lena drove a stake into the regolith, clipping his line. He wrestled the new panel into place, bolts whining as he torqued them down. Her HUD flashed, radiation spiking, the storm churning solar leftovers from Erebus.
Move fast!
She shouted.
Flares are up!
Almost there!
Tran locked the last bolt, and the habitat's lights flickered back, dim but alive. They stumbled inside, dust cascading off their suits, the airlock ceiling behind them. Ruiz met them, grinning despite the strain.
Backup's wired. Bought us a month, maybe 2. Nice work.
Priya nodded from the recycler, hands slick with grime.
Water's flowing, barely. We're still rationing.
Quan hovered by the vault, uncharacteristically quiet.
Power's feeding it,
He said.
but I checked the logs. 2 more vials cracked last night. Some bacteria, nothing big, but
Lena's stomach dropped. She shoved past him, scanning the vault. 3 losses now, moss, bacteria. Small, yes, but a pattern.
Stress from the cold.
She muttered.
Or the storm's vibrations. We need to reinforce it.
With what?
Tran snapped.
We're running on fumes.
Anything.
She shot back.
This fails. We're pointless.
The dome creaked as the storm raged on, a relentless siege. Later, hunched over a scavenged heat coil, Lena jury-rigged a shield for the vault. Scrap metal, insulation, hope. Priya helped, silent but precise, their hands brushing once.
For Mara.
Priya said low.
For everyone.
Lena replied, but her daughter's name echoed in her skull. That night, the temperature dipped to -15 degrees Celsius. The crew huddled closer, breath fogging, the vault's hum a fragile thread. Outside, Mars kept its secrets, red and unyielding. Chapter 7. Fracture Lines. 9 months on Mars, and the habitat was a cage of rust and frost. The storm had faded a week ago, leaving a thin crust of dust over everything. Solar panels, spirits, the vault. Lena Voss knelt by her makeshift shield, tightening bolts, the leopard vial a cold anchor in her pocket. The vault's hum was steady, but the readouts haunted her. 5 cracked vials now. Moss, bacteria, a fish species. Tiny losses in a sea of millions, but each one carved a notch in her resolve. Tran stormed in from the airlock, helmet slamming onto a crate.
Fuel cells are shot.
He growled, scar twitching.
Aurora's down to 10%. Not enough for a return burn, even if Earth's ready.
Ruiz looked up from a gutted battery pack, hands black with grease.
Told you we should have rationed harder. Landing ate too much.
Landing kept us alive.
Tran snapped.
You want to fly this thing? Take the stick.
Enough.
Priya cut in, her voice a blade. She stood by the recycler, tablet glowing with dismal stats.
Water's at 1.5 liters a day. Filters are degrading. We've got a month before it's mud. Fighting won't fix it.
Quan slouched against the wall, fiddling with a broken comm unit.
still no Earth signal. Either they're gone, or we're too buried in static. Pick your poison.
Lena stood, wiping grime from her hands.
Vault's priority. If we lose power or water, it's over. We need a plan.
Plan?
Tran laughed, bitter.
We're squatters on a dead rock, Voss. Plan's gone. We're surviving till we don't.
She glared at him, the first real spark of anger in months.
Then why'd we come? For this.
She jabbed a finger at the vault.
That's Earth in there. Everything we're fighting for. You want to quit? Fine. I won't.
The dome went quiet, the hum louder in the silence. Ruiz broke it, voice low.
She's right. We're not dead yet. Solar's back online. Let's boost it. Scavenge the Aurora. Strip it. Anything for power.
Tran rubbed his face, exhaustion winning over pride.
Fine. Ruiz, Quan, wreck the ship. Take what's left. Voss, Katri, Vault, and Water. I'll keep this heap running.
They split, a fractured machine grinding back to life. Lena and Priya worked the vault, reinforcing the shield with Aurora's hull scraps. Priya's hands were steady, but her eyes were distant.
Brother's birthday today.
She said, almost a whisper.
Would have been 28.
Lena paused, the leopard vial heavy.
Mara's too. 10 last month. If she's...
She didn't finish. They locked eyes, a shared ache, then kept working. Outside, Ruiz and Quan tore into the Aurora, hauling cables and panels through the dust. Quan slipped, a battery pack cracking open, sparking.
Shit!
He yelled, scrambling back. Ruiz doused it with regolith, cursing under his breath.
Watch it!
Tran barked over the comm.
We can't lose more!
Inside, the solar boost worked. Power crept to 35%. But the recycler groaned, a wet cough echoing through the dome. Priya checked it, face paling.
Pumps seized. Dust in the seals. We're dry in days.
Lena's mind raced.
The vault's coolant, liquid nitrogen. We could siphon it, purify it, enough to limp on.
And risk the samples?
Priya countered.
That's the line, Lena. Earth or us.
Tran stomped over, hearing the tail end. Us, he said, flat.
We're no good dead. Vault's useless without us to plant it.
No,
Lena shot back.
we didn't come this far to gut it. There's another way.
Like what?
Ruiz asked, dusting off his suit as he entered.
We're tapped.
Quan trailed him, holding a cracked filter.
Found this in the Aurora's spares. Might fit the recycler, if we hack it.
Do it.
Lena said before Tran could argue.
We stretch both, Vault and us.
Hours bled into night, Quan and Priya rigging the filter, Lena and Ruiz tweaking the power grid. Tran paced, a caged animal. The recycler sputtered back, trickling water, half a litre each, but alive. The vault held, coolant untouched. They collapsed around the table, faces gaunt but defiant.
One crisis down,
Ruiz said, cracking a rare smile.
How many left?
Too many.
Tran muttered, but his scar softened. Lena clutched the vial, Mara's ghost close. The vault hummed on, a lifeline fraying but unbroken, for now. Chapter 8. Echoes in the Static. 12 months on Mars and the habitat was a patchwork of desperation. Scrap welds, jury-rigged pipes, a vault humming on borrowed time. Lena Voss stood by the comms console, static hissing like a ghost's whisper. The leopard vial sat on the table, a silent judge. Earth's impact clock read 26 months gone. Erebus 9 should have hit by now, but the radio was a void. No confirmation, no screams.
Anything?
Tran asked, leaning in the doorway, his scar a deep shadow. He'd aged a decade in a year, eyes sunken from sleepless nights wrestling the ship's systems.
Nothing.
Lena said, tweaking the dial.
Storm's clear, but it's like Earth's mute. Or we're deaf.
Ruiz joined them, wiping grease from his hands.
Aurora, stripped bare. Fuels a memory. If we're going back, it's on fumes and prayers.
Priya sat by the vault, logging data, her braid unraveling like her composure.
Power's at 28%. Recyclers limping 1 liter a day. We're a month from starvation if the greenhouse doesn't sprout.
Quan poked at the greenhouse module, a sealed box of Martian soil and vault seeds, their first test.
It's growing, kinda. Moss is up, but it's slow. Need more heat.
Then we're screwed.
Tran snapped.
Heat's bleeding out faster than we can trap it.
Lena turned from the comms, frustration boiling.
We didn't come here to die slow. Vault's intact. 1.2 million minus 6. We've got a shot if Earth's still there.
If.
Priya echoed sharp.
No signal's not proof. Could be fallout, could be nothing left.
A crackle cut her off. The comms flared, a burst of noise, then a voice, faint and garbled.
Colorado. Survivors. Erebus hit. Eastern. Static.
It faded, swallowed by hiss. The crew froze, eyes locked. Lena's heart slammed. Mara, Colorado.
Rewind it.
She yelled, lunging for the controls. Quan beat her, spooling the log back.
Colorado bunkers. Survivors. Erebus hit eastern seaboard. Fallout west. 40% loss.
The fragment looped, jagged but real.
40%.
Ruiz breathed.
Means 60% made it. Somewhere.
Or did.
Tran said, grim.
That's old news. Could be dead air bouncing around.
Lena gripped the vial, knuckles white.
Mara's there. Colorado's deep. They could have held.
Priya stood, tablet in hand.
Signal's degraded. Probably a relay satellite, not live. But it's something. Earth's not gone.
Yet.
Tran countered.
We've got no ship. No fuel. We're stuck.
Not stuck.
Quan said, surprising them. He tapped the greenhouse.
Moss grows, we get oxygen. Crack the vault's algae, we get food. We build here, then figure Earth.
Build with what?
Tran shot back.
We're rationing bolts.
Enough.
Lena's voice cracked the tension.
We've got a signal. Proof Earth's fighting. We've got the vault. Proof we can fight back. We're not done.
Ruiz nodded, slow.
Kid's right. Greenhouse first. Survive here, then plan the return.
Tran rubbed his scar, relenting.
Fine. Moss, algae, whatever. But if it fails, we're eating dust.
They split, Quan and Priya to the greenhouse, cracking algae vials under Lena's watch. Ruiz and Tran scavenged the dome for parts, a last-ditch heat trap. Lena stayed by the comms, replaying the fragment.
Colorado! Survivors!
Mara's face swam in her mind, 10, maybe alive. That night, the greenhouse glowed faint green, moss spreading, algae bubbling. Power held at 27%, water at a trickle. The vault lost another vial, a beetle species, to a coolant glitch, but Lena logged it without a word. The comms stayed silent. Earth a question mark. Outside, Mars glared red, indifferent. Inside, a spark flickered. Not hope, not yet, but something close. 9 to 13, Red Dawn. Chapter 9, Green in the Red, 15 months on Mars, and the habitat smelled faintly of life. Moss, algae, a hint of damp soil cutting through the dust. Lena Voss stood by the greenhouse module, its glow a defiant smear against the dome's gloom. The vault's algae had taken root, a slimy film feeding oxygen into the recycler, while the moss crept across regolith trays. It wasn't much, barely a meal's worth, but it was proof they could bend this dead world to their will. Quan hovered over the setup, tweaking a UV lamp scavenged from Aurora's medbay.
Oxygen's up 2%.
He said, grinning.
We're basically farmers now.
Farmers with one crop.
Priya replied, her tone dry but her eyes bright. She'd logged the growth rates, moss at 1.3 centimeters a week, algae doubling every 4 days.
Enough to stretch rations, not replace them.
Lena nodded, the leopard vial warm in her pocket.
It's a start. Vault's down 8 vials. Stress fractures. But the core's holding. We've got time.
Ruiz clanged in from the power bay, dragging a coil of wire.
Time's relative. Solar's at 25%. Storm season's coming. We need a buffer.
Tran followed, his scar twitching as he dropped a crate of salvaged panels.
Buffer's a dream. Aurora's a husk. Returns off the table till we crack fuel. Greenhouse better work, or we're choking on our own CO2.
It's working.
Lena said, sharper than intended.
Earth's signal gave us a target. We survive here. We go back.
Back to what?
Tran shot back.
40% gone, maybe more by now. Fallout's a slow killer. Colorado might be a tomb.
Or a bunker.
She countered, voice steady.
Mara's there. Survivors are there. We don't quit.
The comms crackled. Static, then silence. No new signals since the Colorado fragment, but Lena checked daily, a ritual of hope or madness. Priya watched her, saying nothing, then turned to the greenhouse.
We need heat. Moss stalls below 5 degrees Celsius. Vault's coolant could...
No.
Lena cut in.
We don't touch it. Not yet.
Priya's jaw tightened, but she nodded. Tran snorted, walking off to the cockpit nook, a shell of gauges he still treated like a ship. That afternoon, the storm hit, a red wall howling at 70 meters per second, dust clawing the dome. Power dipped to 22%, lights dimming. The greenhouse flickered, algae bubbling slower. Quan cursed, rigging a backup battery, while Ruiz and Tran braced the solar array outside, suits battered by the gale. Inside, Lena and Priya fought the cold, temperature slid to 2 degrees Celsius, frost rimming the vault's shield.
We're losing it.
Priya said, breath fogging.
Coolant's the only play.
Lena hesitated, Mara's face flashing, then shook her head.
Not unless it's us or nothing. Greenhouse first.
They rerouted power, starving the recycler to feed the lamps. The moss clung on. Algae stabilized, but water dropped to half a liter each. Dehydration gnawed. Lena's lips cracked. Priya's hands shook. Outside, Ruiz stumbled in, Tran behind, their suits caked red.
Array's holding barely,
Ruiz rasped.
lost a panel.
Better than all of them.
Tran said, collapsing onto a crate.
Storms peaks tomorrow. We ride it, or we're done.
Night fell, colder, 5 degrees Celsius. The crew huddled near the greenhouse, its faint heat a lifeline. Kwan hummed a tune, nervy but alive. Priya leaned against Lena, exhaustion breaking her walls.
Mumbai's storms were kinder.
She muttered.
Colorado's weren't.
Lena replied, the vial a pulse in her grip.
We're tougher.
The vault hummed, losing nothing this time. The storm screamed on, but inside green fought red, a fragile stand in the dark. Chapter 10. The Red Reckoning. The storm hit its zenith at dawn, 18 months on Mars, and the dome trembled like a drumskin under a barrage of red fury. Winds screamed at 85 meters per second, dust a solid wall clawing at the habitat. Lena Voss braced against the vault, its hum drowned by the roar outside. The leopard vial dug into her palm, a lifeline as the temperature plunged to -8 degrees Celsius inside, frost spiderwebbing the walls. Tran shouted over the comm from the power bay, voice ragged.
Array's buckling. 2 panels left. We're at 18% power.
Ruiz was with him, suit sealed, tethering the last solar struts against the gale.
Lines are snapping,
He yelled.
lose this, we're black.
Inside, Priya fought the greenhouse, its lamps flickering as power bled out. The moss curled inward, algae slowing to a crawl.
Oxygen's dropping, 1% down.
She called, her braid a wild tangle.
We've got hours, not days.
Kwan scrambled by the recycler, hands shaking as he patched a leaking seal. Water was a dribble now, half a cup each, gritty with dust.
This thing's toast.
He shouted.
We're drinking sand.
Lena's eyes locked on the vault's readouts, 12 vials cracked now, a bird species gone in the chaos. The coolant tempted her, a frozen promise of water, heat, survival. Priya's words echoed, Earth or us. She clenched her jaw, shoving the thought down.
We hold the greenhouse.
She barked.
Reroute everything. Vault can take it.
Tran burst in, dust cascading off his suit, scar livid.
No good. Array's down to 1. We're dark in 20 minutes unless we pull a miracle.
Then pull it.
Lena snapped, shoving past to the console. She yanked cables, forcing the last juice into the greenhouse. Lights died, the dome plunging into shadow save for the module's faint glow. The vault's hum faltered, then steadied, 15% power, a gamble. Ruiz staggered in, dragging a cracked panel.
Last stand,
He rasped, voice hoarse.
wire it, now.
Kwan dove in, hands a blur, splicing the panel to the grid. Sparks flew, the dome shuddering as wind tore at its seams. A crack split the ceiling, a hairline, but growing, dust sifting through.
Seal it!
Tran roared, grabbing a patch kit. Priya abandoned the greenhouse, joining him, their hands frantic as they slapped adhesive over the breach.
Hold, damn it.
She hissed, the storm's howl bleeding through. Lena stayed by the console, rerouting, praying. The greenhouse lamp steadied, moss unfurled, algae pulsed. Oxygen ticked up, 0.5%. A breath. Power crawled to 17%, then 18%. The vault groaned, another vial cracking, a lizard species, but it held. The storm peaked, a banshee wail shaking the dome to its bolts. Then slowly it eased, winds dropping to 60, then 40. Dust settled, the crack sealed, the array clinging by a thread. Tran slumped against the wall, Priya beside him, both panting. Ruiz and Kwan fist-bumped, shaky but alive. Lena checked the vault. 13 losses, a wound but not fatal. The greenhouse glowed stronger, oxygen at 19%, enough to live. Water was a trickle, power a whisper, but they'd clawed through.
Storm's breaking,
Ruiz said, peering out the porthole. The sky cleared, a dull pink washing the red hellscape.
Us too.
Tran muttered, scar softening.
Barely.
Priya wiped sweat from her brow, meeting Lena's eyes.
Worth it?
Lena gripped the vial, Mara's ghost steadying her.
Yeah, we're still here.
Quan grinned, weak but real.
Farmers 1, Mars 0.
The vault hummed on, battered but unbroken. Outside, the dust lay still, for now. Chapter 11, Whispers from the Deep. 22 months on Mars, and the habitat was a stubborn speck of green in a red wasteland. The greenhouse thrived, moss thick as carpet, algae blooming in vats, oxygen stable at 21%. Lena Voss traced a finger over the leopard vial, its edges worn from her grip. The vault hummed steady. 15 vials lost, small fry in the grand scheme, but each crack stung like a personal failure. Earth's impact was 4 months past now, Erebus 9 a scar on the planet they'd fled. The comms stayed silent, Colorado a ghost in Lena's dreams. Tran hunched over the console, scar glinting as he nursed the last solar panel's output. 23% power, a razor-thin margin.
We're stable,
He said, voice rough.
but Aurora's a corpse. No return till we crack fuel.
Ruiz tinkered with a salvaged thruster, grease streaking his arms.
Algae's good for air, not rockets. We're rooted till Earth calls, or doesn't.
Priya logged greenhouse yields, her braid neater now, a sign of regained control.
Food's up, barely. Half a kilo a day each. Water's at 1 liter, recyclers holding.
Quan grinned from the comms nook, tweaking a jury-rigged antenna.
Farmers 2, Mars 0. We're winning, right?
Winning's relative.
Tran muttered, but a smirk tugged his lip. Then the ground shivered. A low rumble, not the wind. The crew froze, eyes darting. Dust trickled from the dome's seams, the vault's hum stuttering.
Quake?
Ruiz asked, dropping the thruster.
No.
Priya said, tablet flashing seismic data.
Too deep, 2 kilometers down, 50 clicks west. Something's moving.
Volcanic?
Lena asked, heart kicking. Mars was supposed to be dead, geologically.
Maybe.
Priya said, frowning.
Olympus Mons is dormant, but this could be a vent waking up.
Quan's antenna crackled, static, then a pulse, rhythmic, artificial.
Guys?
He called, voice high.
This ain't natural.
Lena joined him, the leopard vial tight in her fist. The signal looped, short bursts, coded, not human.
Old probe?
She guessed.
Or something else.
Tran said, looming over them.
Mars had missions, rovers, landers. Could be a relic waking up.
Priya synced her tablet to the comms, decoding fast. It's a beacon, low power, repeating. Coordinates match the quake, not NASA, not ESA, older, maybe Soviet.
Buried tech.
Ruiz asked, skeptical.
After all this time?
Or something deeper.
Priya said, eyes narrowing.
We've got a rover, stripped, but mobile. We could check it.
Tran snorted.
With what fuel? We're barely breathing.
Lena cut in, firm.
If it's tech, it's a shot. Power, parts, maybe fuel. We're not waiting to die here.
Could be nothing.
Tran warned.
Or a trap, radiation, collapse.
Could be everything.
She countered.
Earth silent. Aurora's dead. This is a move.
Ruiz nodded, slow.
She's right. Sitting's killing us. I'll rig the rover. Algae biofuel. Enough for a run.
Priya hesitated, then agreed.
I'll map it. Quan, boost that signal. Get us a lock.
Quan saluted, diving into the wires.
Farmers 3, Mars. To be determined.
Tran rubbed his scar, relenting.
Fine. Voss, Ruiz, you're out there. I hold the fort. Don't fuck it up.
That night, the rover hummed to life, cobbled from Aurora's guts, algae sludge in its tank. Lena and Ruiz suited up, the vault's hum a steady pulse as they left. The signal pulsed stronger, a siren in the red dark, 50 kilometers west. Priya's voice crackled in their comms.
Seismic spiking. Watch your step.
Lena clutched the vial, Mara's ghost riding shotgun. Mars trembled beneath them, whispering secrets, or threats. Chapter 12. The Buried Pulse. The rover jolted over Martian regolith, a skeletal frame rattling with each crater. Lena Voss gripped the controls, her suit's HUD glowing faint, 23 degrees Celsius outside, a balmy day on this frozen hell. Ruiz sat shotgun, scanning the horizon, the leopard vial a quiet weight in Lena's pocket. 22 months on Mars, and now they chased a ghost signal 50 kilometers west of the habitat, a rhythmic pulse from something deep and old.
Seismics steady.
Priya's voice crackled through the comms, back at the dome.
No big quakes, but micro tremors are constant. Whatever's down, there's a wake.
Got a lock.
Quan chimed in, his jury-rigged antenna pinging.
Signal's 2 clicks ahead. Stronger now, looping every 10 seconds.
Tran cut through, gruff.
Eyes sharp. Could be a dud. Could be a death trap. Fuel's one way. Don't waste it.
The rover's algae biofuel gurgled, a faint green slosh in the tank. Enough for the trip. Maybe back if they were lucky. Red dust swirled, the canyon walls of Valles Marineris looming like silent judges. Lena's mind flickered to Mara, Colorado, bunkers, that fleeting comms fragment. This signal was a thread, a chance to claw back to Earth.
There.
Ruiz said, pointing. A jagged rift split the plane ahead, steam wisping from its edges, thin but real. The rover slowed, its wheels crunching to a stop. The signal screamed now, a steady beep, beep, beep in their helmets.
Vent?
Lena asked, peering through the dust.
More.
Ruiz said, climbing out. His boots kicked up regolith as he tethered to the rover, hauling a sensor stake.
Heat's low. 40 degrees Celsius subsurface. Signals deeper.
Lena followed, maglocking her boots, the vial a steady pulse against her chest. They edged to the rift, a narrow gash, 10 meters deep, walls glinting with frost. Ruiz drove the stake in, its readout flashing, metallic signature, 15 meters down, not natural.
Tech.
Lena breathed.
Priya, you getting this?
Clear.
Priya replied, voice tight.
Alloy matches old Soviet probes. Titanium, steel. Could be a lander, buried by quakes.
Or something bigger.
Quan added, excited.
Power source? Geothermal, maybe? That vent's live.
Tran growled over the comm.
Don't guess. Dig. Fuel, parts, anything. We're bleeding out back here.
Ruiz unpacked a collapsible drill, its bit whining as it chewed regolith. Dust plumed, the rift swallowing light. Lena aimed a flood lamp, shadows dancing, then a glint, sharp and angular.
Stop!
She called. The drill froze, revealing a curved edge, metal, rusted but intact, emblazoned with faded Cyrillic script.
Soviet.
Ruiz confirmed, brushing it clear.
Lander, or part of one. Signals inside.
They pried it open, a hatch groaning under decades of grit. Inside, a cylindrical core, pulsing faint blue, wires snaking into the rock.
Reactor.
Lena said, HUD scanning.
Microfusion. Low yield but active. Geothermal taps keeping it alive.
Fuel.
Ruiz said, grinning.
Enough to juice. Aurora. Maybe get us home.
Priya's voice cut in.
Careful. Fusion's unstable if it's that old. Could spike or fry you.
Risk it.
Tran ordered.
We're dead otherwise.
Lena hesitated, the vial warm in her grip. Mara, Earth, a shot at return.
We extract it.
She said.
Slow, steady. Rig a cradle. Bring it back.
Ruiz nodded, crafting a sling from rover parts. The core hummed, a heartbeat in the dark, as they hauled it free. The vent hissed louder, steam thickening. Then a tremor hit, hard, the rift cracking wider.
Move!
Lena yelled, shoving Ruiz toward the rover. The core swung, stable but heavy, as they strapped it in. The ground steadied, but the vent spat dust, a warning.
It's pissed,
Ruiz said, climbing aboard.
Let's not stick around.
Lena gunned the rover, biofuel burning low, the core's glow a promise or a curse in the rear view.
Priya, prep the habitat.
She said.
We've got a ticket.
Or a bomb.
Tran muttered.
Don't blow us up, Voss.
The red plane blurred past, Mars grudgingly yielding a prize. Lena clutched the vial, whispering to Mara.
We're coming.
Chapter 13. The fuse lit. The rover limped back to the habitat, its algae biofuel a faint sputter as Lena Voss eased it to a stop. 22 months on Mars, and the dome loomed like a battered lighthouse, its patchwork walls glinting in the thin sun. The fusion core sat strapped in the cargo bed, a dull blue pulse threading through its cracked casing. Hope in a bottle, or a bomb waiting to blow. Ruiz climbed out, tether dragging, the leopard vial a steady weight in Lena's pocket. Tran met them at the airlock, scar stark under the dome's flicker.
That it?
He asked, eyeing the core like it might bite.
Yeah,
Lena said, brushing dust from her suit.
Soviet relic, microfusion, geothermal fed, enough juice to wake Aurora.
If it doesn't kill us first.
Priya said, stepping up with her tablet. Her braid was tight again, her calm a mask over fraying nerves.
Scans show it's stable. Barely. Output's erratic. Could surge.
Quan poked his head out, grinning despite the tension.
Badass? We're rocket scientists now.
Or Ash.
Tran growled, waving him off.
Get it inside, slow. I want eyes on it.
They hauled the core in, a jury-rigged cradle creaking under its weight. The habitat's air was thick, moss and algae from the greenhouse tangling with dust and sweat. Power hummed at 20%. The recycler wheezing, but the vault held firm. 15 vials lost, a scar they'd learned to live with. Ruiz set the core by the power bay, wires snaking to a scavenged console.
Hook it to Aurora's grid,
He said, hands steady.
boost the thrusters. Maybe we lift off.
Priya synced her tablet, data streaming.
Yields low. 50 kilowatts. Spiking to 70. Enough for a burn, but the casing's brittle. One overload, and we're a crater.
Lena crouched beside it, the vial warm against her chest.
We've got no choice. Earth's 4 months post-impact. Colorado's alive or was. We don't try. We're stuck.
Tran rubbed his scar, pacing.
Try and fail, we're dead. Fuel's the bottleneck. Core might charge the cells, but not fast. Launch windows tight.
How tight?
Ruiz asked, splicing a cable.
2 weeks.
Priya said, eyes on her screen.
Mars orbit shifts. Miss it. We're grounded another year.
Quan fidgeted, nervous energy spilling.
So we juice it, fly, pray. Farmers to astronauts. Cool, right?
Not cool.
Tran snapped.
Reckless. But yeah, only play we've got.
They worked through the Martian night, 36 hours of grit and wire. Ruiz and Quan linked the core to Aurora's husk, its thrusters coughing awake. Priya monitored, tweaking outputs, her voice a steady drone.
40 kilowatts. 45. Holding.
Lena stayed by the vault, reinforcing its shield. Earth's seed couldn't die now, not this close. Then it spiked. 70 kilowatts, a whine piercing the dome. Sparks flew, the core's glow flaring.
Shut it down!
Tran roared, lunging for the kill switch. Ruiz beat him, cutting power, the hum dying to a murmur.
Overload.
Priya said, breathless.
Casing held. Barely. We push again. It might not.
Lena's gut twisted. Mara, Colorado, a signal fading.
We've got to risk it.
She said, standing.
1 shot, full burn. Earth's waiting.
Or a graveyard.
Tran countered, eyes hard.
We blow this. No one's waiting.
Ruiz wiped sweat from his brow.
Core's got 1 run in it, maybe. I say we vote.
Vote?
Quan laughed, shaky.
What's option B? Stay and farm till we croak?
Live.
Tran said, flat.
Here. Greenhouse works. Vault's safe. Earth's a dice roll.
Lena met his gaze, unyielding.
I'm not leaving her. Leaving them to chance. We go.
Priya nodded, slow.
Earth's the mission. Risks the job.
Ruiz shrugged.
I'm in. Better than rusting here.
Quan raised a hand.
Hell yeah, let's fly.
Tran sighed, scar softening.
Fine. 1 burn. Prep, Aurora. Tomorrow, we launch or die.
The core pulsed, a fragile heart. Lena clutched the vial, whispering to Mara.
Hold on.
Chapter 14. Into the Fire. 22 months and counting, the Martian dawn broke dull pink over the habitat, a thin veil for the gamble ahead. Lena Voss strapped the leopard vial into her suit's pocket, its edges smoothed by her touch. Aurora squatted outside, a patched phoenix, thrusters rewired, hull dented, the fusion core bolted into its gut like a second heart. The vault sat secured in the cargo bay, 15 vials lost, but 1.2 million holding. Earth's last seed, trembling on the brink. Tran took the cockpit, scar glinting as he ran pre-flight checks.
Core's at 48 kilowatts. Stable for now. Fuel cells charged to 60%. One shot. Mars to Earth, no stops.
Ruiz buckled in beside him, hands steady on the co-pilot controls.
Thrusters are hot. Biofuel's a trickle, but the core's the muscle. We'll burn hard.
Priya sat aft, tablet synced to the core's pulse.
Output's erratic. Spikes to 65, drops to 40, windows 20 minutes. Miss it, we're dust.
Quan strapped in next to Lena, nervous grin flickering.
Farmers to space heroes. Epic, right?
Or epic crash.
Lena said, but she clapped his shoulder. The greenhouse was dismantled, its moss and algae packed into Aurora's life support. A fragile backup if the core failed. Tran's voice cut through.
T-2. Core online. Brace.
The habitat faded behind them, a red-dusted tomb. Aurora rumbled, the core whining as power surged, 50 kilowatts, 55. Dust billowed, the ship clawing free of Mars's grip. Lena's stomach flipped as gravity loosened, the viewport swallowing the red plane below.
Orbit in 3.
Ruiz called, voice tight.
Burns holding. 60% thrust.
Priya's tablet beeped. A spike, 70 kilowatts.
Core's heating. Casing's stressed.
Sparks hissed from the cargo bay, the vault's hum faltering. Lena unbuckled, staggering aft in the low G, her suit's mag boots clanking.
Voss, sit!
Tran barked, but she ignored him, reaching the core. Its glow flared blue-white, a crack splitting its shell. She grabbed a coolant line, scavenged from the habitat, and sprayed it down, frost blooming. The whine eased, power dropping to 58.
Stable for now.
She shouted, strapping back in. The vault's readouts flickered, 16 vials lost, a snake species gone. She swallowed the pang, gripping the leopard vial, Mara's ghost stronger than ever.
Orbit achieved.
Tran said, exhaling. Mars shrank, a red marble in the black.
Burn 2 in 10. Earth trajectory. Core's got to hold.
Priya adjusted her tablet.
65 kilowatts, pushing it. We've got 12 minutes till it fries.
The second burn hit, a roar shaking Aurora's bones. The core spiked again, 75, the cabin trembling. Sparks flew, a panel popping loose. Quan yelped, ducking as Ruiz wrestled the controls.
Hull's holding. Barely.
He yelled. Lena watched the viewport, Mars gone, stars steady, Earth a faint blue speck ahead.
Come on.
She whispered, to the ship, to the core, to fate.
Burn complete.
Tran rasped, hands white on the stick.
We're coasting. 6 months to Earth. Core's at 30 kilowatts. Shutting down.
Priya killed the feed, the whine fading to silence. The cabin settled, a fragile hush.
Casing's intact.
She said, stunned.
We made it.
Barely.
Tran muttered, scar softening.
Now, we pray Earth's there.
Ruiz grinned, weak but real.
Farmers 3. Mars 1.
Quan laughed, shaky.
Space heroes. Told you.
Lena clutched the vial, Mara's face sharp in her mind. The vault hummed, battered but alive. Earth loomed, a question 6 months out, home or a husk. Chapter 15, The Long Drift. 3 months into the coast to Earth, Aurora was a fragile shell adrift in the black. Lena Voss floated by the vault, tethered to the cargo bay wall, the leopard vial a steady pulse in her pocket. Mars was a memory, its red dust swapped for the void's cold silence. The fusion core sat dormant, its cracked casing patched with scavenged steel, 30 kilowatts on standby, a whisper of power for the landing burn. The vault hummed low, 16 vials lost, a wound they'd carried from the red planet. Tran hovered in the cockpit, Scar faint in the dim glow of gauges.
Trajectories locked. 3 months to Earth. Fuel cells at 45%, dropping slow. We're lean.
Ruiz drifted beside him, checking thruster relays. Life supports, holding. Moss and algae are pulling their weight. Oxygen's 20%, CO2's in check. Priya anchored aft, tablet tethered to her wrist, her braid floating in 0G.
Core's dormant but twitchy. Micro spikes in the readings. Landing's a coin toss if it flares.
Quan spun lazily near the greenhouse scraps, a grin masking his nerves.
Farmers in space. Still badass. We've got this, right?
Barely, Tran said, voice flat.
No margin. One glitch, we're a ghost ship.
Lena ran her hand over the vault's shield, its hum a lifeline. Earth was a blue pinprick ahead. 4 months post-Erebus, fallout still a question. The Colorado signal replayed in her head. Survivors. Mara's chance, her North Star.
Comms?
She asked, glancing at Quan.
Static.
He said, tweaking the antenna.
Too far. No relays left. We'll hear 'em when we're closer. Or we won't.
Days blurred, weightless monotony, rationed algae paste, the vault's hum a metronome. Priya taught Quan genetics, her dry lessons a tether to sanity. Ruiz and Tran played cards with salvaged bolts, betting chores. Lena kept to the vault, logging cracks, whispering to Mara, "Hold on, kid." Then it hit, a jolt, sharp, the ship lurching. Alarms blared, red lights pulsing.
Debris!
Tran shouted, slamming into the controls.
Old satellite! Hang on!
Lena grabbed a rail as Aurora spun, the vault rattling against its moorings. Quan tumbled, crashing into Priya, who cursed and caught him. Ruiz braced by the thrusters, yelling,
Hulls grazed. Pressure steady.
A screech tore through, metal on metal, then silence. Tran wrestled the ship level, breath ragged.
Clear, barely. Damage?
Priya floated to a porthole, scanning.
Dent, port side, seals intact, cores spiking. 40 kilowatts unprompted.
Lena checked the vault. 17 vials lost, a coral species gone, the shield dented but holding.
Stress hit it.
She said, voice tight.
Core's waking?
Or dying.
Priya said, tablet beeping.
Output's erratic, could burn out or blow. We need to vent it.
No.
Tran snapped.
That's our landing juice. Ride it. Stabilize.
Ruiz drifted over, inspecting the core.
Casing's cracking. Slow leak. I can patch it. Buy time.
Do it.
Lena said, overriding Tran's glare.
We lose the core. We're dead either way.
Ruiz worked fast, sealant hissing over the fracture, the whine easing to 35 kilowatts. Priya adjusted life support, siphoning moss oxygen to stretch reserves. The ship settled, a wounded bird limping home. That night, or what passed for night, Lena floated by the viewport, Earth sharper now, blue against black. Tran joined her, silent at first.
You think she's there?
He asked low.
Your kid?
Got to.
Lena said, vial warm in her hand.
It's why we're here.
He nodded, scar softening.
Then we land. No matter what.
The vault hummed. Aurora drifted, and Earth grew, hope or a grave, 3 months out. Chapter 16. The Blue Threshold. 5 months into the drift, Aurora hung on the edge of Earth's orbit, a battered shell cradling fragile hope. Lena Voss floated by the vault, the leopard vial a worn talisman in her pocket. Earth filled the viewport, a bruised jewel, clouds streaked with ash, 4 months post-Erebus. The fusion core pulsed at 32 kilowatts. Its patched casing a prayer against collapse. The vault hummed, 17 vials lost, scars of the journey, but its heart beat on. Tran gripped the cockpit controls, scar stark in the blue glow.
Entry in 6 hours. Fuel cells at 38%. Core's our break. If it holds.
Ruiz hovered beside him, rerouting power from the moss filters.
Thrusters are patched. 60% thrust, maybe. Landing's gonna shake us.
Priya tethered her tablet, eyes on the core's flux.
Output's jumping. 30 to 40 kilowatts. Casing's leaking again. Slow, but we're on borrowed time.
Quan spun a wrench, nervous energy spilling.
Space Heroes landing. Epic finale, right? No crashing?
No promises.
Tran said, voice gravel.
Earth's a mess. Atmosphere's thick with junk. We've got one shot.
Lena checked the vault straps, the hum steady under her touch. The Colorado signal, survivors, echoed in her skull, Mara's face a beacon.
Comms?
She asked, glancing at Quan.
Faint.
He said, tweaking the antenna. Picked up a blip. Garbled, western U.S. Could be. Colorado, could be noise.
Play it.
She said, sharp. He looped it, a crackle, then Bunker Delta, fallout stable, west holding, cut by static. Lena's breath caught. Mara, alive maybe.
That's it.
She said, firm.
We aim there, Colorado.
Tran nodded, plotting the descent.
Rockies it is. Rough terrain, but flat enough if we're lucky.
The burn came fast. Aurora shuddered as the core flared. 45 kilowatts, thrusters roaring. Earth rushed up, heat shields glowing red, hull groaning under re-entry. Priya shouted over the din.
Core's at 50. Casing's cracking.
Vented.
Ruiz yelled, slamming a bypass. Steam hissed, power dropping to 35. The ship steadied, but sparks flew, a console frying. Quan ducked, cursing, as Lena braced by the vault, its shield denting under the strain.
Shoots!
Tran barked, yanking the lever. Fabric snapped open, jerking them hard. 18 vials lost, a frog species gone. The viewport blurred, ashen clouds, then jagged peaks, the Rockies clawing up.
Core's done.
Priya called, killing its feed.
25 kilowatts, burning out.
Thrusters only.
Ruiz shouted, hands white on the controls. Aurora screamed, skimming a ridge, then slammed into a plateau. Metal crumpled, dust exploded, silence crashed in. Lena's head rang, the vial intact in her grip. She unbuckled, staggering to the viewport, snow-dusted peaks, air thick with ash, earth alive but wounded.
We're down.
She rasped. Tran slumped, scar bloodied from a gash.
Alive. Barely. Check the vault.
Ruiz kicked the hatch open, cold biting through. Priya scanned, 19 vials lost, the vault battered but whole. Quan grinned, shaky.
Farmers 4, Space 0.
Lena stepped out, boots crunching ash and ice. The comms crackled, a signal clear now.
Bunker Delta, Colorado, survivors, coordinates.
Her heart leapt, Mara close. Tran joined her, wincing.
We made it. Now what?
We find them.
She said, clutching the vial.
We bring it back.
Earth breathed around them, broken but unbowed. The vault hummed, a seed for a new dawn. Chapter 17. Ashes and Seeds. The Colorado Plateau stretched bleak and silent, ash dusting the snow like fallen stars. Lena Voss trudged from Aurora's wreckage, the leopard vial a lifeline in her pocket, her suit patched but sealing out the -10 degrees Celsius chill. 4 months post-Erebus, Earth was a husk, sky grey with fallout, air thick with grit. But alive. The vault sat in the cargo bay, 19 vials lost, its hum a faint promise against the ruin. Tran limped beside her, scar crusted with blood, a scavenged rifle slung over his shoulder.
Signals 20 clicks north. Bunker Delta. Terrain's hell. Crags. Ice. We move fast.
Ruiz hauled a sled, the vault strapped tight, his breath fogging.
Aurora's dead. Core's ash. Thrusters cold. This is it.
Priya walked behind, tablet dim but tracking the comms.
Delta, survivors, coordinates stable.
Her braid swayed, her voice steady.
Radiation's low, fallout settling. They're there.
Quan brought up the rear, dragging greenhouse scraps, moss and algae, a backup if the bunker failed.
Space Heroes to snow hikers. Still epic.
He said, grin weak but holding. Lena led, the signal a pulse in her ears. Mara, so close. The Rockies loomed, peaks jagged through the haze, wind howling at 15 meters per second. They climbed, boots slipping on ice, the sled's runners grinding. 2 hours in, a crack split the silence. A ravine, 30 meters deep, blocking the path.
Shit!
Tran muttered, peering down.
No bridge, no detour. Signals straight ahead.
Ruiz uncoiled a tether.
We repel. Sled too. Slow, but we'll make it.
They descended, Lena first, the vial warm against her chest. The vault swung, Ruiz and Tran guiding it, Priya and Quan anchoring above. Halfway down, the ice shifted. A groan, then a snap.
Move!
Lena yelled as a slab broke, tumbling past. Quan slipped, Priya grabbing him, the sled lurching but holding.
Close.
Quan gasped, regaining his grip.
Too close.
At the bottom, they pressed on, the signal sharpening. Delta, 5 clicks. The ash thinned, revealing a steel hatch in a cliff face. Cyrillic script faded beside English. Bunker Delta 7. Lena's pulse raced. Mara. Tran banged the hatch, frost flaking off. A hiss, then it creaked open, a figure in a hazmat suit emerging. Rifle up, voice muffled. Names.
Voss, Tran, Ruiz, Khatri, Quan.
Lena said, hands raised.
From Mars. Vault Team. Survivors.
The figure lowered the gun, visor clearing. A woman, 30s, eyes hard.
Captain Ellis, Delta 7. You're late. Erebus hit hard. 60% gone. West held. Who's in charge?
Me.
Tran said, stepping up.
Vault's intact. 1.2 million species. Earth's seed.
Ellis nodded, sharp.
Inside, now. Radiation's spiking.
The bunker swallowed them. Steel corridors, dim lights, air stale but breathable. Survivors milled. Gaunt faces, 100 strong, kids among them. Lena scanned, desperate. Mara, Mara. Then a cry.
Mom?
She spun, the vial slipping from her grip. A girl, 10, gap-toothed, hair wild, ran from the crowd.
Mara.
Lena dropped to her knees, arms open, her daughter crashing into her. Tears froze on her cheeks, the vial forgotten on the floor. Tran clapped Ruiz's shoulder, scar softening.
Worth it.
Priya knelt by the vault, unstrapping it, her voice soft.
For Mumbai, too.
Quan grinned, moss in hand.
Farmers 5, Apocalypse 0.
Ellis loomed over Lena and Mara, tone brisk.
Reunion's sweet. Work's next. Vault's here, but Earth's a graveyard. You've got seeds. We've got soil. Ready?
Lena held Mara tight, nodding. Ready. The vault hummed, a new dawn breaking in the dark. Epilogue. Roots in the ruins. 6 months after landing, the Colorado Plateau was a grey scar under a fractured sky. Lena Voss stood outside Bunker Delta 7, the deepest vault humanity ever carved, 3 kilometers down, a steel womb that held against Erebus 9's wrath. The leopard vial hung on a cord around her neck, Mara's hand in hers, the girl's gap-toothed grin alight in the ash. The vault hummed nearby, uncrated on the surface now, its 19 lost vials, a small price for the 1.2 million still alive. Erebus had been a beast, 12 kilometers of rock that punched Earth's eastern flank, boiling oceans, torching forests, killing 95% of life in a year of fire and fallout. The moon took a hit too. A splintered shard of the asteroid cratered its far side, shredding any hope of a lunar hideout. Delta 7, built for Cold War doomsday, was the last stand, 120 souls, the only flicker left when Aurora touched down. Tran leaned on a salvaged crutch, scar faded under dirt, watching Ruiz and Quan rig solar panels from the bunker's stores.
Earth's a corpse,
He said, voice rough but steady.
but we've got seeds.
Priya knelt by the vault, unpacking moss trays, her braid dusted grey.
Soil's sterile, fallout's deep. Algae's first, oxygen, then food. Decades, maybe, to green this.
Mara tugged Lena's hand, pointing at the vault.
Leopards too, Mom? Like the zoo?
Soon.
Lena said, kneeling to a level.
We'll grow it all back, slow but sure.
Her eyes flicked to the horizon, cracked peaks, a dead moon half visible, Earth's wounds raw. Delta 7 had held, its geothermal core and sealed walls defying the end, but food was gone, air thinning. The vault wasn't pointless, it was survival's spine. Captain Ellis emerged from the hatch, hazmat suit swapped for patched fatigues.
Bunkers tapped. Water's dry, power's flickering. You brought the fix, Voss.
Team did.
Lena said, nodding at the crew. Ruiz grinned, Quan waved, Tran grunted. Priya stood, moss in hand, a quiet nod to Mumbai's ghost. They worked, algae vats bubbling under solar heat, moss spreading in sheltered trenches. Oxygen crept up, a whisper of life. The vault's seeds waited, trees, grasses, animals, decades out, but possible. Delta 7's survivors pitched in, gaunt but determined, Mara darting among them, a spark of what could be. That night, Lena sat with Tran by a fire, scrap metal and algae sludge, a weak blaze. Earth's sky was dull, the moon a shattered crescent, but a breeze stirred, carrying moss scent.
Worth it?
Tran asked, Scar catching the glow.
Yeah.
Lena said, Mara asleep against her. The vial gleamed, the vault hummed.
We're the root.
Priya joined, handing out algae paste. Bitter, but food.
Farmers 6,
She said, a rare smile.
Earth 1.
Quan laughed. Ruiz smirked and Tran nodded. The red dawn faded. A green one flickered, small but real in the ashes. The end co-created with Sam Jaggard and XII.